welcome. You're onto Aspheric TV, and this is the morning newspaper briefing. My name is Dabaru Gifts. This is the program where we bring you front pages of Nigerian dailies, and we get to discuss them later in the program with my guests. I'll start off by reading you with some of the headlines. The Punch newspaper says, Atiku Okowa rubbish APC over Muslim to Muslim tickets economy. Say unemployment rose by 54% to 68 million. Nigerians poorer under Buhari. Muslim to Muslim tickets dangerous for trouble. I beg your pardon. Muslim to Muslim tickets dangerous for troubled nation like Nigeria, Okowa tells APC. Northern can restates opposition to same faith tickets. I have done well, Buhari. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, and his running mate, Ifeanyi Okowa, on Tuesday took a swipe at the ruling All Progressives Congress, saying its decision to run on a Muslim-to-Muslim ticket in the 2023 presidential election was the most insensitive decision to make in a diversified nation like Nigeria. Also on the Punch newspaper, Tinubu healthy, APC tells Obi decries defections. Senate minister disagree over 12 trillion naira budget deficits. VP slot Okowa most qualified, IU tells critics. Also, there's a picture of the NANS protest strike, motorists stranded as students block Lagos to Ibadan expressway. The Guardian newspaper says APC dressing Nigeria in borrowed robes. Atiku slams Buhari's policies. Also, NNPC seals gas pipeline project agreement with Morocco, ECOWAS. By spending more than 100% of its revenue on debt servicing, Nigeria is breaching one of the applicable debt sustainability thresholds, just as the All Progressives Congress, APC-led government, is dressing Nigeria in borrowed robes. The These Day newspaper says, 2023, Atiku proposes $10 billion economic stimulus fund for MSMEs, unfolds blueprints. Vows to privatize refineries, then utilize $1.55 billion to revitalize them. Says he will propose legislation to remove electricity from exclusive lists. Meets Makinde, Southwest Party leaders today. Promises to help PDP win Lagos. The Nation newspaper, it says here, Buhari will have done well with available resources. Tukur Maman is a terror, financial DSS tells court. President Muhammadu Buhari yesterday highlighted his administration's achievements despite dwindling resources. He said he did well with the available resources, even if the records are not acknowledged by some stakeholders. The Daily Trust newspaper says insecurity, northern governors, monarchs back state police to harvest 2,000 megawatts of solar power. Says ASU strike hits North more, call for truth. Atiku pledges 7 trillion naira economic stimulus fund in first 100 days in office. Also, ASU strike, commuters stranded as students block Lagos-Ibadan expressway. Aero to resume flight operations month end as UMSA invests 21.425 billion naira. DSS accuses Mamu of financing terrorists as court extends his detention. The 19 northern governors and all the traditional rulers in the region have called for the amendment of the 1999 constitution to give legal backing to state police. They said this was the only way to tackle the myriad security challenges affecting the region and the country at large, among them banditry, insurgency, kidnapping, and other forms of criminalities. Those are the newspaper headlines we have. We'll go on a short break. When I return, I'll have my guest in the studio and we'll discuss some of these headlines. Please stay with us. Welcome back. I have my guest with me in the studio, and he's Mr. Mustafa Abdul Malik. Good morning, sir, and welcome on the program.
Good morning.
Let's discuss the PDP slamming the APC on bad governance. I beg your pardon. The economy and also the Muslim to Muslim ticket. The People's Democratic Party has claimed that Buhari has dressed the nation in borrowing robes, or better still, borrowed robes. What are your thoughts on these comments by the PDP?
Well, we are getting close to electioneering campaign era period. And I think the right way to go is what the PDP has just started. We want an issue-based campaign, not a campaign based on hatred and some other things that divide us more. Well, PDP has set the standard now. And let's wait for APC to see how they will reply. Let's go into what the PDP has said. Virtually all the PDP has said regarding the present administration is what is happening to Nigeria today. Is it about the economy? Is it about the insecurity? Is it about the inability of the APC to now provide a platform that take into consideration our diversity? So virtually everything that is happening to Nigeria is what PDP has just said it. And apart from that, again, I've heard Atiku, he has now put on the table his economic plan and how to
revitalize the economy.
He has put it on the table. As days go on, as we proceed, we now discover that pundit and the expert will now unravel some certain things that contain within his plan, whether it's going to be workable or not. That is what democracy entails. Democracy should not be based on saying on sentiment here and there, because right now we are paying prices because of some certain element of sentiment that we brought into the democracy. But we want 2023 to be something different from what we are used to. So for now, I will give a credit to Atiku Abubakar and Okowa for initiating that process, instead of taking to the lines of APC to say, okay, because every time you hear APC talk, what they will now make reference to is 16 years of PDP. They will keep on saying that, look, if PDP had done this, there's no way that, no, governance is not like that. Whatever thing that PDP had done within 16 years, governance is continuum. Wherever they stop, they should inherit it and build upon it. But right now, we didn't see that, because whatever thing they are saying, Nigerians will now compare between the era of PDP and APC. Take, for instance, this morning I was discussing with somebody. The person was telling me that, look, that I stopped reading national anthem because of that part that you say that you defend the nation with your strength and everything. That what strength again? That since that day that they started buying rice, a bag of rice, 25 kg of rice, 29,000 naira. That is when she stopped singing the national anthem. Although we are not trying to tell our viewers to toe her line, but a lot of Nigerians, they have their own perspective to what is happening today, how they react to the economic situation. Well, Atiku has said it. The nation is the APC has addressed
the nation in borrowed robes.
Virtually everything is wrong with Nigeria today, because the unemployment has increased. You are talking about ASU, they are on strike. You are talking virtually everything is everything is crumbling in Nigeria at the moment. So, but it's good that we are seeing it now, because Nigerians will now have alternative to say, okay, if we said, okay, APC is not doing well, There are other platforms. We have Labour Party, we have APC, we have Accord, we have other ones. So as we step into the electioneering campaign, let all the contenders come out and tell Nigerians that, look, this is what I'm going to do. If by the time they unveil their plans, Nigerians now will now have alternative to say, okay, this is what we are going to choose, instead of going the way of APC. APC on their own part too, they will now say, okay, look, we have done some aspects well, and we are going to build upon it. I wonder how they are going to carry out their campaign. Let's watch and see.
Still on the PDP,
Yeah.
the national chairman of the PDP has given reasons why Okowa was the best vice presidential candidate and then why he was chosen. I don't know if you've read that story or you have thoughts on it, basically.
Well, right from the time Atiku unveiled Okowa, he said it that, look, Okowa has presidential quality, meaning when he's not in the office, Okowa should be able to take over from him. Well, it's like Okowa is like a future project. And truly, if you want to like work with somebody who will deputize you, you would like to pick somebody that has that integrity and quality. And I believe that these are things that Atiku now put into consideration to make his choice regarding Okowa. And truly, if you look at it very well, we are not like here on use this platform to make a comparison between Wike and Okowa. But if you look at it, the utterances of Wike in the last 2 months, you now discover that, look, they are far apart from each other. Wike is talkative. He cannot. When you want to hear, at least you cannot do anything without hearing, sharing his reaction. But unlike Okowa is like a gentleman on his own that people cannot really fault him to say, okay, this is what he's saying or that. But right now, I cannot say that this is where Delta State, he has been the chief executive officer of the state for the past 7 years. I don't know these indices over there. We don't know the record of achievement over there, but at least let's just watch and see.
On the other side, the APC now, the Labour Party candidate Peter Obi has made some comments concerning the flag bearer's health. And then the campaign managers basically have come out to say that Tinubu is healthy and in good condition. Also, Tinubu made some comments concerning that, claiming that he is healthy and there is nothing wrong with him. And this is an issue that I would say has been making rounds mainly on social media. People have claimed that Tinubu is not in the best health condition. What are your thoughts on this?
I think we should learn from the era of late Umaru Yar'Adua, because just like we are witnessing today, the health of Umaru Yar'Adua was an issue during his campaign, but we decided to ignore it, and eventually
he died in office.
And then his death does not even come just like that. Prior to his death, we had a lot of controversies here and there, to the extent that they hit up the polity before his death. And that right now we are now experiencing similar scenario. Although there's no any part of the constitution that they exclude anybody that's on ill health. But I think it's right time that the constitution should be reviewed, that health status of whoever is vying for office of the president or governor should be made public instead of concealing it, because we are talking about a president that will become a public servant, not a president that will become so the era of hiding that status, health status of the president, it should be gone. Because I could recall that only some times ago, Joe Biden of America, he was ill, and he now, in fact, about his health, everything was made public. Unlike in our own scenario here, whereby you decided that they will conceal everything. If Tinubu is not feeling fine, it's all about his health record should be able to be unveiled to the general public to say, okay,
transparency.
Yes, there should be transparency in his health status. If there is transparency, all this argument here and there wouldn't arise. Well, the fact is that, is he healthy? well, we shall see how it goes.
Exactly. Still on the ASU strike that has been in the news off and on lately, we've seen students protesting along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, and they've basically blocked the road. Commuters are stranded, and then they are calling for the strike to be called off. That is the NANS, the National Association of Nigerian Students. And I want to get your thoughts on this issue.
It's really unfortunate that when we are inching towards election like this, there is a palpable fear of unrest. So the government should put the interest of the student into consideration. If there's any time that the ASU strike should supposed to be called off, it should be now. You understand? Because they shouldn't allow that situation whereby the student will now take laws into their hand and then hit the street and start protesting. You understand?
Which they've done.
Which they have done. And you understand?
And this isn't the first, actually.
This is not the first. And you understand? Since no action is being taken, you will now discover that it will continue like that. Eventually, it will now become something bigger, just like we had the NSAS. You understand? So we should avoid that. Government should avoid that. To me, if you ask me, federal government taking ASU to industrial court, to me, is like a wrong step, because although the court is like an arbiter that will interpret the law, and in this case, federal government is like the employer and ASU is like the employees. Wherever there is disagreement or there is a bone of contention, certainly they will end up in the court, and that is what the federal government did. But what will happen if, at the end of the day, the victory now come to the federal government, and the bone of the contention still remain on the ground, and the federal government has succeeded in suppressing ASU to return back to the class? It means we are postponing the bone of contentions to happen some other time again, and that is why you now see that ASU strike has been lingering since 90s till this very moment. This agreement that we are talking about is not an agreement today. Agreement of 2009 is still dragging till now, that the government is not
more than a decade later.
So, and based on what is happening right now, federal government is now trying to run away from the fact that, look, I believe that what they are trying to run away from is in the future, so that ASU will not go to strike again, so that they will not set a precedent now. But is it going to be something that it will work out well? That is where the problem will not stop now. You understand? If you said, okay, ASU has been on the strike for the past 5 months and they are not going to pay them their salaries for that period, for that duration, it means federal government is not ready for dialogue. It means whatever negotiation they have done on the table and an agreement that they are going to implement, it means ASU will not take them serious over that. And that is why ASU is now saying that, look, we're not going back to the class unless our money is being paid to us.
I think this issue of ASU strike is long overdue, because
it's long overdue.
Students have protested, the Labour Congress have protested.
They have done that.
Parents have tried to even contribute money and things like that, and it's still going on.
But at the end of the day, like what we saw in Lagos, by the time we start seeing such protests in other cities, or you now discover that it will become a daily thing, and by the time it becomes a daily thing, it will become uncontrollably. And remember that Nigerians are not happy. You understand, with the situation of things in the country, is it the insecurity, the economy, and virtually everything. So by the time you now create that opportunity for Nigerians to come out and to pour into the street, it will become something that it will lead to me. I'm afraid I don't want to mention anarchy, but it will create that situation that it will lead to something similar to that.
Still on the ASU issue, northern governors and then monarchs have called for a truce between ASU and the federal government, because they have claimed that it hits the north more. So I think this ASU issue, there's a lot to it. It's on different dimensions, basically. But on insecurity, northern governors and monarchs back state police. What do you think about these developments? It's
long overdue that we have a state police, because if you look at our historical development from right from the 1960s to now, you now discover that, especially 1966 to now, you now discover that the most people that have been opposing anything that has to do with to give that some element of autonomy to the federating units are from the north. But right now, this time around, you now see that they are at the receiving end of the insecurity. They are the receiving end of the insecurity, but as governors within the northern state, they can do little. There are little things they can do. they can only support the federal security agencies within their state to tackle the insecurity, but they cannot sanction the head of the security agencies, including even the ordinary policeman who is just a constable. They cannot sanction him. Whereas they provide, at times they provide allowance, they provide logistics, they provide even meal to support the security agencies within the state, but they cannot sanction them. Because, take for instance, like in Kaduna, for instance, you discover that Governor Rufai sometimes ago, he came out and to me it's more or less like accused the military that they know where these bandits are, but he doesn't know why the military cannot go after them and go into their domain within the forest and bomb them. That was what he said. So in that situation whereby you have, let's say that you have a state police, certainly every state will now design its own police department based on the peculiarity and the challenges that avail within that domain. You understand? So, and you discover that the people that will man the security agencies within whatever is it state police or whatever you call it, the people that they were employed, you now discover that they are indigent within that state. You now discover that they are indigent within the community and they indigent within the local government, whereby they know the terrain, they know everything, they know who is a hoodlum, they know who is a criminal and who is a potential criminal. So there's no better time. We have seen it being done in Borno. The Sussex recorded against Boko Haram started in 2013. That is when they now decided to package what they call a civilian JTF. And we saw it how they were able to like drive Boko Haram out of Maiduguri city down to their enclave in Sambisa forest. So if they can do that, what is stopping us from saying, okay, empower these people constitutionally whereby they will become known by law and they can carry arms? Let's not forget that in Benue State, just last month, you now discover that Governor Tom now came up with a security task force. But they are not armed. People that are not armed and they're expecting them to go and confront people that are well heavily armed. It can't be done that way. Let's tell ourselves the truth. It's long overdue that the constitution should be reviewed. Instead of having the security that is being lumped up at the center, they should now unbundle it so that every state can have its own security arrangement based on the peculiarity and the challenges within their domain.
That's about it for today. Thanks for joining us. My name is W Gift and I've had Mr. Mustafa Abdul Malik with me. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Aspheric TV on YouTube, and also follow us on all of our social media platforms. On Instagram and Twitter, we are Aspheric News, and on Facebook, we are official Aspheric News. Thanks for watching. Bye.